Could you see things, or actually maybe a better question is, what sort of work have you seen men do after the retreat, and do they come back for another one, or do they do it on their own?
Great question, man. Yes, they typically are taking, so the workbooks, once you get this experience and you've gone through our 3 debrief calls, again, just touching on the debrief calls, they're pretty basic. It's really letting them talk, letting them kind of word vomit the signs that they had, the aha moments they had, the limiting beliefs they had, the goals they set. And I just basically latch on as an accountability partner. And when they don't
Yeah.
have that accountability partner, they're typically looking for more. So whether that's one-on-one coaching with us, whether that's a community we bring them into, whether it's the retreat, the in-person retreats, the mastermind,
Yeah.
whatever that is, we can kind of put them wherever they feel they want to be. So they typically will run that retreat again. We try and recommend 2 times a year. When you look at some of the biggest thought leaders in the world, Bill Gates is a great example. Religiously, he has done a solo retreat 2 times a year, a 7-day solo retreat. He has done that since he's been the Bill Gates we all know. And his goal there is to write, disconnect, and journal. All he does. Big vision stuff, creative stuff. So, his philosophy seemed to have worked pretty well for him. So we really try and recommend a couple times where you're doing that, but you can use the same material. It's nothing different. What we do is we try to encourage them to set those goals, whatever that might be, and I'm following up with them in multiple different ways. You brought us on because you have some type of issue or something you're working through. We're going to be on you pretty good to have you get that done. That's why you're bringing us on. That's why you haven't done it on your own.
Right.
To answer your question, it's a couple different avenues they can go after, but most of the times guys are doing it twice and it's the same program. So no need to rebuy the program.
Right. Yeah. I was wondering also if there was another step that they could do that's maybe more advanced or that goes deeper, or does that mostly happen in, because I was thinking of this idea as well, is that there's only so much inner work you can do to help that's on your own.
For
There's
sure.
a lot of things that has to be done in tandem with your friends, your family, your romantic partners, because you're only one person. You can do so much work. But what's a saying a buddy said with me the other day? He goes, if you really think you're that enlightened, go spend a week with your family.
For sure. Oh my God, that's amazing. Wow.
And I thought that was great because before that I was really laughing because you have all these people let's look at the Dalai Lama, let's look at these monks that spend their life in the forest or in the woods, and obviously they have things to add, but we are social creatures. We're scientifically, biologically, historically, human beings are social creatures. It's how we've survived. It's how we've evolved. So you can only do one part of the conversation, whereas you have to re-enter those scenarios to be like, okay, can I get less triggered when someone says this? Or can I manage this relationship better now on my side? Or is this a complete mess and I probably shouldn't be involved in this sort of dynamic, business partner, friendship, etc.?
100%, man. I think you hit that on the head. And that's super interesting about kind of the enlightenment with being around your family. Man, I've never heard that. That's really, really cool.
Right, because it's hilarious, but it's also and it doesn't even mean that it doesn't even mean your family has to be this toxic mess. It could just be I think you mentioned you had kids.
I don't have kids. Kyle has kids, but that's a big. That's actually a really it's a huge part of our program. A lot of dads go through it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've spoken to a bunch of I don't have kids, but I have a bunch of friends that are in the shit of it with kids anywhere, 2 to 4 kids, and they're young, and just being around your family, you love your kids more than anything. They love their kids more than anything, but sometimes when you're around them too long, you're like, how am I going to not lose my shit today?
Dude, so
right.
Yeah, I've watched Kyle go through the ringer. Yeah.
Right. And so that's why I think that saying made me laugh, and it was so profound at the same time, because a lot of these things, I guess professionals call it co-regulation. It's 2 people working together, but sometimes the other side isn't working, and so you've kind of got to do your best. And so it's really cool that you're giving men the space to be able to really think about themselves solo, but also how they're going to reconnect when they exit those 3 days. Is there any, I suppose, things that you give them or that you've seen men use as tools or ideas to have more I guess, resilience in everyday life, or to be able to treat themselves better day to day? What have you seen in that way?
Yeah, so a couple things. One is, and it sounds simple and it's like a tangible physical thing, but journaling has a ton of benefits for guys after the retreat. We've seen guys go through and they're putting 150 pages of journal notes down in 3 days.
Jesus.
They're journaling 18 hours. I mean, it's insane because there's so much built up, and something about pen and paper and getting it down and like stepping back and like starting to kind of analyze and break it down. So journaling seems to be something that they take moving forward. And I think a great actionable thing for the audience and what we talk about in our debrief calls is just daily wins, because we get caught up in this minutia of, we're not good enough or we're not pushing hard enough. But those daily wins begin to callous and you start stacking the wins every day, even small stuff, right? It can be as small as like taking the dog for a walk this morning or got up and exercised, whatever it is. Those small wins begin to stack and you look back and you build self-confidence. And that sometimes is all people need, all men need to kind of move forward into that or cut the safety net and move into that next chapter of life. They need some self-confidence. The other thing that we recommend is blocking a day out or blocking a chunk of the day or a couple hours, whatever that is, for yourself and being self-disciplined to that. For me, my thing is Wednesday morning is like my time in the mountains. We talked about a little before with the mountains. That's my happy place. I've got a tattoo on the side of the mountain range here. It is a place where I disconnect. I have my best ideas and I'm the most creative. So whether it's morning paddleboard session with my dog, it's mountain biking, it's hiking, it's climbing, whatever it is, every week I'm religious about that. I also keep the first 30 minutes of my day and the last 30 minutes of my day completely to myself. I own that. I shut everything off as a digital detox and I either journal. Most of the times I journal. So for men moving forward, they're typically gravitated towards something like that they can do. And it's not super over the top crazy that they're going to lose commitment on that. Because that's the biggest thing. You overcommit, you don't do it, and now you've started to callous the wrong way. And you're saying, oh man, now it's negative self-talk. Damn, I didn't do 100 push-ups a day. Well, how about you do 10 a day? Like, let's start building. Right. Let's build some building blocks, lay some stones and some bricks, and like look back, and now we have a path.
Right. Yeah, that's really nice. I know, like myself for sure, and then all the friends that I have in the entrepreneurial space, and even my buddies from all walks of life. When we have these conversations about men, there just seems to be a lot of pressure that men put on themselves that we feel like we need to keep putting pressure. And if we haven't broken, well, then we can probably add some more pressure on there. And
exactly,
it's great. I've been journaling, I don't know, as long as I can remember. And there's something that I thought about recently because I interviewed someone on the show. He's a PhD in, I think it was like emotional development in boys and men. And one thing that I saw him say on his channel was that even when we're journaling, which as helpful and cathartic and amazing as journaling is, sometimes we especially men are too busy thinking about the emotion instead of feeling the emotion. And so sometimes I try to take a break in between when I'm writing something down, and instead of trying to think my way logically through a thing or whatever the thing and strategize a thing, sometimes when I'm dealing with something, I just in the middle of journaling, I'll be like, okay, I'm going to stop thinking my feelings and I'm going to feel my feelings for a bit. Exactly. And I'm going to see how that informs the rest of this session journaling. And normally I find maybe not a complete right turn, but there's a shift in how I'm writing about something when I kind of drop into myself a little bit and I start tackling a topic or something from there. Have you had any sort of experiences like that when you're journaling? I'd love to hear your take.
100%, man. And that's a very like self-aware thing. I mean, you've heard it through a couple different channels, but huge self-awareness on your part to step away and feel the emotions. But from a masculine side, that's not our backbone as men, or at least traditional men. So that seems to be a point where we jump in and say, like, you have to be open-minded. You have to try some of this stuff. The construction industry is an interesting one here. We've started to kind of dabble into that. That is a very masculine style of industry, right? Oh yeah. That is like, don't feel your emotions. Don't take mental health is stupid. It's not a thing. So when you say feel your emotions, step back and feel what that feels like. Meditation seems to be a great way for people to that gateway kind of drug to get into feeling your feelings. Meditation is about how does your body feel? Body scans. I mean, that's a huge one. It starts to develop that muscle of feeling those emotions, and then you can take a different approach to journaling. And I mean, I'm fascinated with that kind of stuff because the notes and the progress you can make, I really do believe it starts to escalate when you do stuff like that.